I'm Dylan Ratigan. I've interviewed nearly every CEO and most world leaders during the past 25 years. And now I'm bootstrapping. I'm turning my attention to the new CEOs and the irrepressible entrepreneurs leading the next generation of innovation in the world. Welcome back to tastylive. I am Dylan Ratigan. Time for some bootstrapping. Spencer Marzouk, my guest. ThinkLP, the company. It's a loss and safety intelligence platform. Spencer, it's a pleasure to have you. How are you?
Good. Pleasure to be here.
Yeah. So safety and loss intelligence platform sounds like some sort of a surveillance or basically, if I understand this correctly, you're going to help reduce theft in the retail environment at the end of the day. Is that a fair description?
Yes, or even more so, help the teams that help reduce theft in the retail landscape. And so we're a loss and safety intelligence platform, like you mentioned, which is really the operating software for loss and safety teams. We serve largely the large enterprise, retail, and grocery operations. And when you talk about loss and safety, we have really this concept of total retail loss, which combines losses from theft, from safety, from fines, and it's
Great.
100. Sorry, no, I was just going to say it's $120 billion problem kind of facing large enterprises and retail. And it's exacerbated by organized retail crime, which is really kind of more coordinated big theft operations that have been happening across the retail landscape. And what we do, our platform, is we help them get ahead of some of these problems, utilizing data and analytics to drive insights so that they can make decisions to better serve the organization and protect the bottom line. We have a mission of protecting people and profit.
So give me an example. So let's just isolate on theft, which is sort of the most sensational aspect of it.
Right.
In terms and for a bunch of reasons that are self-evident. My experience with theft prevention, I'm just thinking about the drugstore, is
Yeah.
some of the shelves are under lock and key. And if I want to get a razor blade or I want to get a deodorant or whatever it may be, I have to go find someone and say, hey, can you unlock? Can I get a Gillette? Whatever. I'm assuming that there's more that goes into theft prevention than locking up the things you're trying to sell.
Yeah, there's a whole slew of technologies that really help these organizations protect their stores and keep shelves fresh and keep the product available for consumers. We're kind of the all-in-one place that you go to. That's like the hub, the place you go to, like email, the platform for those teams. And what you do with our software is you record your incident reporting, your cases that take place. You actually do your store audits in our platform, and then we bring in data from the other technologies, so you kind of can see in one view as a loss and safety leadership team what's happening in your business, so that you can drive action and make decisions. But yeah, it's definitely impacted the consumer experience quite a bit, as you noted.
Well, yeah. Well, what is the biggest thing what is the biggest invisible? What I want to know the biggest. What are some of the biggest things that are invisible that are happening that I don't know what are happening
Yeah.
that are the biggest levers to influence theft, basically?
Yeah. Some of the things that are happening that you don't necessarily know is that a lot of the theft is connected, and that you can that there are groups that come in and they will actually steal from a set of CVS's or Walgreens, or they'll have kind of pointed products that they're going after. And leveraging technology, like what you can do is you can actually identify the patterns in those suspects and get ahead of them. So now when they go to a store, they're caught off guard, either by law enforcement or reinforced kind of barriers to stealing a certain product. There's a whole kind of like intelligence play that goes into getting ahead of the process that you don't see when you walk in the door. And
It's like I know they do the list of like the 5 or the 10 most stolen cars, and
right.
if you have a Toyota FJ, they like to steal FJs or whatever it is.
Yeah.
I'm assuming that there's like the 10 most stolen retail products.
Yeah, there are a lot of, I mean, there are a kind of it's a wide range of lists, but first and foremost is you have like the kind of, you said the basics. You'll have like your deodorants, you'll have your toothpaste, your off the shelf kind of what you see front of store at a pharmacy. But then you have these really high luxury items that will be targeted across a footprint of those luxury outlet stores, targeting like purses and jewelry. So the range is there in terms of the items that you see stolen, but it's mostly the daily consumer products, like I mentioned, the consumables, your deodorants, your toothpaste that you then find on Amazon, that you find on eBay. And that's actually kind of part of what you see in organized retail crime. They call it a fence. They'll steal it in a store and then they'll go and they'll resell it on another platform.
So they're basically creating a illegally acquired inventory of brand new sort of
Yes,
household items, and then
correct.
reselling it via the web in some way.
Reselling it via the web, and even worse, some of these operations go, and we've been able to find in partnership with law enforcement, go and fund other criminal activity. So, like your human trafficking or other kind of organized crime areas that are beyond retail.
And to what degree, and if I, how do you pitch your business? I guess what I'm getting at, like, I got what I'm going is like, how much of an impact can a system like yours have on reducing losses?
Right. So one thing that our system can does in terms of helping you and your team mitigate total retail loss is, on average, total retail loss is around or your shrink is around 2% of your total earnings. And so what we actually do is we've seen in our businesses that we serve that we're able to help teams reduce that dramatically, almost in half, by having kind of an organized center and center of intelligence for them to operate off of to get ahead of these kind of safety situations, these theft incidents that take place, so that they're better prepared. A lot of times, the kind of operation that goes into a retail store will not necessarily play for that type of 2%, that stolen average shrink that you see off the shelf. And so just by having technology and tools in place and better data and insights into what's happening in your operation, you're able to dramatically cut that. And what we've seen with our customers is in half with a platform like ours.
And the primary value proposition is, if you have awareness of either high value items that are specifically being targeted, or structures and situations that make it easier or harder to take things, or create more safety risk or less safety risk. Basically, your primary proposition is, if you have this information, you can create different structures and systems that reduce the probability of a future theft or safety loss.
Right. If you with this intelligence, you have the ability and insights into how you can plan to protect people and ultimately profit, because you're seeing, when stolen product and shrink, goes directly to the bottom line and is reflected in that. You even see it in earnings calls with retailers, where you'll see over and over again them quoting the shrink impact on profit. So it is one of these types of technologies and tools that helps you both plan for safety and, actually, from a CFO's perspective, help you get ahead on shrink in terms of the bottom line.
Are there things that you're doing on the intelligence gathering side that are useful in the reduction of loss due to theft or safety that are also applicable to other aspects of the business, just as an intelligence service, period?
Yeah, absolutely. So one aspect on our kind of from an intelligence perspective that our platform provides is crime linking. And so you actually get alerts of incidents of suspects patterns that you find linking across not just your operation, but other retailers. And so This is important because about 60% of shoplifters are repeat offenders, and they account for about 80% of losses. And so being able to target those organized groups and provide alerts of, hey, this incident looks a lot like this incident, this other retailer, collaborate together, is able to kind of drive your ability to get ahead of that. And then that translates into other parts of the operation, which is just purely operational irregular alerts. And so what we also see is in our product, we use it for internal theft alerts, where you can actually link up your POS system to see what kind of cash register activity is happening, and if there's irregular activities there, that we alert you and to get ahead of that. And equally as well in terms of safety. So one of our we have a whole group of customers here in the logistics space, and one thing they've used is in our technology is using it for just alerts in safety aspects of their operation when it comes to their drivers. Rather, their drivers are, have their hands at 10 and 2, or rather, their operation is going about it is operating in like the right way where there's no irregular aspect to it. So the alerting function allows beyond the theft aspect of your operation, goes deeper into
It's sort of monitoring overall relative to both safety and security with the staff in its totality.
correct.
You understand what's happening inside of a truck?
Yeah.
How?
Yeah. So what we are able to alert is we're able to kind of see when you look at the retail aspects, or when you look at kind of the logistics aspects across across your operation, you can see like, okay, we're seeing incidents that are being reported from this warehouse that indicate that there is theft taking place across logistics. And one interesting thing that happens in like the operation is you'll see big kind of supply chain organized rings that take place, and being able to alert you on effectively that there's activity taking place in a warehouse you might not have caught ahead of time. You're able to actually go and drive your operation, make it more secure, put in more technologies.
How do you know what's happening in the truck? Do you have a camera in the truck?
There's sensors. So we integrate with other technologies that provide kind of the sensor that we integrate with other technologies such as.
Do you have sensors on the steering wheel, for instance, or sensors on the speedometer?
Yeah. So there are sensors on steering wheels that you're able to integrate with that help kind of get a sense on, is what's happening in this operation with the truck along the safety protocol that you and your organization have put in place. You'll see we'll also be able to kind of get a sense with other technologies being integrated into our platform. What are kind of what I would say is the truck delay. So you're able to kind of see operational timing where you'll have one truck going from one warehouse to another.
Loads per week, and if you can have more loads per week, and what percentage of the truck is full, and all the metrics. Yeah.
So it goes deeper beyond the theft and deeper into the operation.
Yeah. It's an intelligence service.
Yeah.
For corporate operations, or at least an intelligence management platform that then links with other intelligence gathering things. I mean, it's interesting. The iPhone obviously now is better than anything the CIA ever could have imagined, and we pay money and we pay to give them as much information as they could ever possibly dream of.
It's true.
Yeah. So the press cycle the last couple of years, going back to COVID, I guess it's a little bit of an older cycle now, but obviously has been sensational about these organized retail crime rings, and there's no enforcement in San Francisco, and you can just walk into CVS and take 5,000 tubes of toothpaste and nobody cares and whatever. I'm interested in the reality check, which is there actually more organized retail theft today than there was a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years? Is there a trend there that is of statistical significance, or is it just sort of sensational news coverage?
That's a good question. I think the thing on organized retail crime is it's very difficult to report what may seem like organized retail crime versus simple shoplifting because they look very similar from on the outset. So it's a hard thing to track. You know, the reports have kind of ranged that ORC accounts between 70 billion and 95 billion in total losses. You know, what it ultimately comes down to though is how good is your operation? And do you have the intelligence to help you drive a better, tighter operation to protect against any type of loss and theft at large? But generally, I will say this, you know, while there might be some sensation in the media, or, you know, obviously a great media story, seeing those images, right, that we have seen an unprecedented level of increase of violence happening in stores across our reports and incidents that we see in our system, almost 75% in terms of violent cases since 2020. And so while the numbers might vary and there might be kind of disputes between what the total number and impact is, one thing we do know is that that there is a level of intensity that's picked up since 2020 around safety in stores and in the shopping experience for retailers.
How big does a business have to be to really be able to capture the value that your
Yeah.
platform offers?
You know what's interesting? Theft and loss impacts a wide range of businesses, from the largest enterprises in the world to the bodega around the corner. Our platform, we have versions of it that serve across that landscape. And so, you know, we serve a whole network of Goodwill stores across the United States. On the same time, we serve kind of your large legacy big box retailers like Home Depot, Lowe's, CVS.
But there's a version. I mean, yeah, it's sort of obvious where, you know, if I'm CVS, if I'm Walgreens, if I'm
Yeah,
Home Depot, if I'm Walmart, like, of course, like, you know, a one basis point of shrinkage reduction is a huge pile of money.
right.
But for the bodega, is there a version of this that is where the value slash cost is where there's a value proposition that makes sense at that end of the spectrum, like for Tom's
There is at the
Tom's
small.
store?
Yeah, so at the smaller end, you know, we have a version where it's really simplifies it for the bodega operator, where they're able to just kind of have a tracking system that then they can go wrap together in a case, and that can go to law enforcement locally when they have a break-in or when they have some sort of irregular theft. The price point there obviously is much lower than the higher retail big box stores because it's just a more simple version of it to better serve their needs. And sometimes, and what we found is that there is a value prop in that because again, you have repeat offenders. About 60% of the stolen products come from. I just want to make sure I nail this down. You've got about 60% of the theft comes from about 80% of those who steal, repeat crimes. And so being able to stop someone who keeps kind of continuously going after
Right.
your store.
It's not a one. It's you're stopping a system. You're stopping a. It's like the opposite of like the long term value of a
Right.
customer. It's the long term value of a thief, or the long term cost of a thief, I guess.
It's a long-term cost. It's a lifetime value of the thief, right? 80% of stolen
Right.
products are repeat offenders. And so you're able to kind of stop that and get ahead of it.
Spencer, it's a pleasure. Interesting challenge, fun sort of cat and mouse sort of situation. Easy for me to say. Not fun if you're on the lost side, and probably not that fun to really be a shoplifter either. But anyway, interesting to learn about it. Thanks for the time.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
The website before we go.
Yeah, thinklp.com.
All right.
I will send
ThinkLP,
it.
they'll stop your shrinkage. I'm Dylan Ratigan. This is Bootstrapping. More Tasty Live after this.